All types of organisation need to have an effective governance regime, and it is the directors and also the senior managers of all those organisations which have an interest in high quality governance. At its most basic level, if you don't have a system of governance in a country, the citizens suffer. By extension, if you don't have an effective system of governance within a company or an association, it will not prosper. This will affect the value of the company, it will affect its reputation, it will affect its owners, the shareholders, it will affect its other stakeholders, including particularly the workforce, suppliers, customers, neighbours, state entities with which the organisation has to interact. Governance matters. And governance involves the effective application of principles. It's all about how that company or organisation is directed and controlled. The ultimate authority for that is going to be the board of directors. But the board of directors needs the assistance of a cadre of senior managers who will ensure that the board's decisions about business purpose, about its mission, vision, its governance framework are cascaded through the organisation and applied effectively and appropriately for the benefit of all who work in or are associated with that company or organisation. Why is a training course on essential governance for directors necessary? It's because we can't take governance for granted. It doesn't just happen. The directing mind of the company, which is the board of directors and its senior management team, need to be thinking constantly about the suitability of the governance framework. A slavish application of the governance principles that are set by regulators within Cyprus isn't going to help the company. It's important to think about the governance framework, to think about those provisions of a governance code which are relevant to the company, the organisation, and the business, the field of activity in which it is operating. So this course is all about helping directors, senior managers, and people who want to become directors to think about high quality governance and how to put it into practice. So the programme is going to discuss, as a scene setter, the value of good governance. What benefits are to be derived from applying high quality governance, good standards of governance throughout the organisation. We're going to be discussing some of the essential legal duties that directors have, because the proper application of those will be an indication of the respect which the board of directors has for staying within the law. Governance also concerns people. It is often said that a company's most precious asset is its workforce, but sadly there is often a gap between that statement and the reality in some organisations. So how effective is the succession planning? What is being done to ensure that there is a good pipeline of younger people coming through who can in due course take over the management of the company, or if they move on, can migrate into other organisations but take good practice with them? We're going to be discussing effective decision making. One of the biggest challenges that directors have and senior managers with delegated powers have is taking decisions in a way which benefit the company and which do not lead to internal dissension or disruption. That requires humility, it requires courage, it requires self-awareness. We're going to think too about, in that regard, about evaluating the board of directors. Board evaluation has been around now for some decades, but particularly in this 21st century, Evaluating the effectiveness of the board has been a key way of assessing the quality and standards of governance applied within a company or any other organisation for that matter. One area where governance is shown up is in the way in which a company deals with conflicts of interest. Conflicts of interest arise frequently. How a company handles those and its awareness of the dangers posed by the inadequate handling of conflicts of interest can expose a company to quite serious risk, reputational, but certainly financial. And it can cause a major shock to the system if, because a conflict of interest is not handled appropriately, it can lead to the sudden departure of key personnel, for example, a chief executive, with the result that share price may drop, customers may be lost, suppliers may wish to impose more stringent terms of business. We can see in all those different ways a company will suffer. So governance matters. It really matters. High quality governance is what should be the ambition for all organizations. This program, I hope, is going to be of help to serving directors, senior managers who are not yet directors, and younger people who want to be directors. Millennials and Generation Z have a keen interest in how the companies for which they're going to work govern themselves. Well, it's good for them as part of their training for Gen Y, Gen Z to become familiar with what is involved in high quality governance. This course, I am sure, will help them to acquire that vitally important knowledge. It will help their personal development, and it will help the contribution they make as good employees of the companies and organizations for which they work.